Hi, everybody. Give a couple minutes here to see if anyone's hopping on live. If not, you can always go back and watch the video. And I'm actually uploading these videos to my YouTube channel also, which I haven't really made public yet, but I'll be sharing that down the road. So tonight, I'm not going to stay on real long, but the soul of the Great Awakening continues as the Great Awakening continues. And tonight, I just want to give some nuggets and give you some fun facts about the head versus the heart. It's really fascinating to me that the physiology, the actual physical makeup of the brain and the heart in our physical body are actually very, very similar in the way that they function and the components of the brain and the components of the heart. We often think of the heart as being mainly muscle, like a big muscle mass. But on the contrary, the heart is actually 65% neuron cells. And what is our brain? Our brain is all about neurology. It's neuron. And like the brain, the heart also sends really powerful electromagnetic impulses into every cell of our body. In fact, the neurons that are firing from the heart are firing in conjunction with those of the brain simultaneously. So they're complementing each other and they're working together. Our heart is working with our thoughts. They're not working separately. They're a cohesive unit. The head and the heart are working together. So knowing that the head and the brain actually have a lot of the same components and function in the same way, what's really interesting is because they both have electrical fields and they both have like magnetic fields, but the heart can actually produce an electrical field that's 100 times greater than the brain, and a magnetic field that's 500 times greater than the brain. And overall, then our heart, it has about 60% greater, larger ability to broadcast messages. Okay, so we think that it's our brain that's signaling all these messages. Actually, the heart has a greater capacity to broadcast messages. So the brain has one job, and that is to think. Have you ever tried to tell your brain to stop thinking? Okay, don't think, stop thinking. No, and it's impossible because that is the one function of the brain. It's to think, it's to analyze and kind of organize our thoughts, kind of like a big filing cabinet. So the brain's, it's always on, right? It has one job and it does a really good job with that task. But the brain can actually get overused, overstimulated, and drained as it's trying to keep all of that organized and to analyze. The heart, however, has a much more sophisticated complex. The heart actually has the ability to think and feel, making it a far superior and more accurate source for making our decisions and navigating the events of our life. The heart holds fuel where the brain can actually rest and decompress, and in turn kind of offer more wisdom, more insight, deeper knowledges when we allow the brain to kind of wind down, turn down, and kind of silence that part of ourselves. So in fact, The heart is able to think, it's able to feel, and have emotions on its own without the brain. So even if the brain wasn't turned on, or even if it was separated from the heart still has its own ability to think, to feel, and have emotions. So just a couple quotes that I found, like going over, the centuries. Aristotle, for example, he considered the heart as the center of reason, thought, and emotion, superior to the brain in importance. A 9th century Arabic philosopher he believed that the ruling organ in the human body is the heart. The brain is a secondary ruling organ, subordinate to the heart. There's a 19th century French philosopher who stated the brain should be servant to the heart. And lastly, a 12th century Christian mystic, and she said, the soul sits at the center of the heart as though in a house. So the heart, unlike the brain, has the ability to access information outside the boundaries of time and space that our brain may be limited to. The heart brings in the voice of our higher self and channels our inner guidance. It holds the key that turns on our inner GPS system, our intuition. The heart holds, the voice of the soul. We are to listen from the sacred space. We are to tap in to this sacred space. We are to function and really follow the ruling, follow the guidance, follow the inner authority of the heart. And that, again, is what the soul of the Great Awakening is all about. It's learning to hear that inner guidance, to respond to that inner guidance, to act on that inner guidance, to live from the heart, from truly following the heart. And with the information that I just laid out, now we know, because of the way that it's wired in our body, that it is far more superior intelligence than just the logic and the reason of the brain. So how can we tell a difference between brain signals and heart-based signals? So brain signals come strictly from your head, and that's pretty much the only place that you're going to feel it. Irrational and overanalyzed brain messages, just thought messages, usually come from some sort of fear-based system, often linked to something from the past. And brain signals feel constricting, confined, restricted, tense, and overall just real disconnected. It's a general feeling, if you're just following like the brain signals, that something is off. And they tend to leave us feeling anxious, tired, depleted, along with, like tight muscles in the body and shortened breath. So those are how brain signals might show up and how they might feel in the body. Heart signals, though, are felt overall throughout your entire body. So a heart-based signal is like a full body experience. Unlike the brain, the heart feels really open, expansive, uplifting, energizing, and really clear. They make your blood flow, they make your body pulse. They actually interact with all of your sensory perceptions. All of those sensory perceptions become much more heightened and much more acute. It's a full body experience, and that's where getting goosebumps come from, like, you know, when we're listening to those heart signals, feeling those heart signals, like we feel them differently in our body, and they feel really, again, open and expansive and really clear. So your intuition, unlike the brain, which is very logic and reason based, which it's its function. We need our brains. We're thankful for our brains. But intuition, on the other hand, it is not logical. It is not meant to be logical. We're not meant to analyze and get our brain interfering with and to connected like to the intuitive nature of our heart, to heart-based signals and messages. So it's not logical at all. And it often will lead you into kind of like the unknown. And in the past, at least for me, in my experience, like following, you know, heart-based intuition, didn't necessarily always feel like it was leading you into such an unknown. But where we are currently as a collective in this shift, this dramatic shift that we're part of, which again is a shift in our awareness and in our consciousness, and reclaiming who we are as a divine sovereign being, and that is by relating to the soul through the heart. That's, you know, what the shift is learning to listen from the inside out, from your heart-based inner authority, and turning off and shutting off the outer voices of outer authority. So because we're in such a dramatic shift right now, and we're being challenged to really do that, and everything is changing so quickly, and the way that we even exist and function on the planet is changing so quickly, that intuitive guidance from the heart is not going to seem logical at all. And it really is truly going to lead you into the unknown. So when we're working with following, because we're all intuitive, okay? I mean, that's nothing new. Everyone has an intuition. We all have those heart, you know, feelings. We all have those gut, you know, those intuitive. We're all intuitive. We all hear it. We all know it. The key is, I think, is not just hearing it, but actually responding and taking action on it, actually following through and doing what the soul, what your heart is leading you to. That's a big step, you know, that most of us like haven't been doing throughout our lives, or we haven't been doing it like all the time throughout our lives, because it's not logical, right? Our brain gets in there like really quickly and, you know, starts making us feel afraid. Well, if I do that, if I make that decision, if I change that, then what about this and what about that? And then the brain gets in there and it goes haywire, right? So intuition is not logical, especially at this stage in the game. It's likely to lead you into the unknown. So what I want to offer you with giving you some encouragement to follow those heart-centered messages and that intuitive guidance, your own inner authority, is first of all, drop all your expectations, all the expectation as to why. So if you're hearing this little intuitive guidance, let's just say you're applying for a job somewhere, you're interviewing, and you get a job offer, and it looks really good, right? They're paying you more than when you were working before. They're offering you all these benefits. Maybe you don't have to drive as far, whatever it is. You know, maybe the whole package of taking this new job looks really, really good. But there's something in your heart that you're like, you know, and you're listening to those brain signals and you're listening to that heart signal, and something just feels off, right? And you don't know why, but your heart is just saying, I don't think I meant to take that job, right? Then we start immediately attaching all these expectations as to why we think we're getting that message, right? Well, I guess I'm not meant to take this job because maybe things are going to improve at my current job. Maybe I'm going to get a raise. Or maybe it's because, I'm going to get a better offer, or maybe I'm going to be able to move. Like, we start attaching all these different expectations as to why we think we're getting that intuitive hunch. So the first thing is to drop all your expectations. Don't try to overthink it. There goes the brain. Think. Don't try to overthink it. Don't try to debate it, argue with it. I mean, the soul doesn't argue, you can't really debate the soul. It just is. Your inner authority, it just is. So don't try to overthink it. Don't try to debate it. Don't try and justify it. Don't try to think, look way down the road and like, oh, if I make this decision, make this choice, then my life's going to look like this and all the next steps are going to be like this. It's about staying in the moment, choosing what feels right in that moment, simply because the soul says. Period. So let me say that again, because it's really important with working with your intuition right now in this really chaotic time. It's about, dropping from the head into the heart, listening to that inner guidance, acting and following on that inner guidance simply because it is the inner guidance. Period. Dropping all expectations as to why you think you're getting that guidance. So easier said than done, I know. But when we actually take action on those heart-based messages, on that inner guidance and those intuitive nudges, when we actually take action on it and live our truth, express our truth, that's where the universe, comes to meet us. That's where God comes in to meet us, source energy, the universe. And that's where the magic starts to create. So it's really about staying in the moment for what feels right in the moment, no matter how small or how big the decision is, whether you're deciding what you're going to eat for lunch or about a career move or, another really big change. Just stay in the moment and follow what feels right. Again, from the heart, it's going to feel more expansive. It's going to feel more open. It's not going to feel constricted and, and tight, like some of our brain and logic decisions are. It's just going to feel more open, and it's going to feel good. It's going to feel good in your body. So try to connect with your body as you're making decisions. And, like if I make this decision, how does it feel? How does it feel in my body? And just how does it feel? And get in the habit of making those heart-based decisions, because intuition does reside in the heart. The heart is a muscle, does have, some muscle capacity. And intuition is very much like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And you get used to knowing how that feels for you and how your intuition feels for you. We all might experience it a little bit different in our bodies, right? I get a lot of kind of goosebumps and sensations throughout my body, and just that openness feeling, but we all might dial into it a little bit differently. So practice with some of the easy things, right? And get in the habit. And the thing about, our intuition and making those decisions is there's really no right or wrong. First of all, for the soul is very neutral. The soul is just here for experience. It is just here for evolution. It doesn't care what form that comes in. It's very neutral. The soul does not judge. So to the soul, it's not something's good and something's bad. But if you make a decision that you're not in heart alignment with, you're going to feel that, okay? And then you can come back. You can kind of, re-coordinate, and you can make a different decision, okay? So nothing in life is ever permanent, or we can always recalibrate, and the soul will always work, the heart will always work at helping you recalibrate. So again, super important right now, because that is the soul of the Great Awakening. That is the shift. That is what the opportunity is right now in this intense time of transformation and change, right? I know my friend Julia was on a little earlier. I don't know if she's on right now. But there's a couple exercises that people have shared with me over the years, something that Julia just shared with me recently, and then another exercise that I learned years ago. So something that we can do when we're trying to connect more with the heart. Julia taught me to just kind of take your hands and run them like from your eyes down to your heart. And just, I mean, I can even feel the energy of it just sitting here and doing it. But just kind of running the hands from your eyes down to your heart. The other exercise is very, very similar, where someone taught me years ago to kind of close your eyes and then imagine kind of rolling your eyes down into your heart and like seeing from the heart and choosing from the heart. So those are just a couple of quick things too that you can maybe put into practice. So before I jump off tonight, and I just want to remind everyone every time I come on, everything is heating up on the world stage. It's merely symptoms of our old structures, our old ways dismantling. We are accessing a complete paradigm shift, okay? So it's not like other points in human evolution where maybe we went from the industrial age more to like, mechanical age, or more into like a technical age, where just kind of like one facet of the way we were existing was just sort of evolving and changing. We are at the cusp of an opportunity of a complete paradigm shift. And that means that every part, every structure, every system that we have been accustomed to over, how many decades or centuries, it's all completely crumbling, all of it. It saddens me knowing where we're headed and knowing what the opportunity is, and knowing that the internal shift that we all need to be making to create that new reality. I've actually been a little surprised and kind of saddened to see how many people are still operating in duality. I'm right, you're wrong. My way, not your way. And just really limiting ourselves, falling into the trap of division and duality, which is exactly where whoever they are, again, that have these agendas want us. They want people arguing, they want us distracted, they want us divided, because again, like I shared in a couple videos ago, we have been separated from our divinity and put in these distractions of duality and division on purpose over, eons of time. Okay, it's nothing new. Because as a divine being, when we are in alignment with our truth, when we're operating from our inner authority rather than the outer authorities of the world, we are so powerful and we are unstoppable. So please, everybody, take a step back from the division that is purposely being perpetuated on the world stage right now. Step away from it, okay? It's turning it off and turning it in. Tune it all out and start tuning it in to the heart. Start making, those heart-based decisions, claiming your inner authority, living your truth, and being who you came here to be. You are unlimited and so powerful. And if we each do that individually, just imagine how powerful we're going to be as a collective. Imagine the harmony, imagine the unity, Imagine the collaboration. Those are all opportunities of a new paradigm, a complete paradigm shift. And like I said, I don't know how exactly we're going to get there. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. I don't know how bad the dismantling is going to feel. I don't know how ugly the world stage, may, and how it may intensify and continue to look. But this is the time to start. It's not about not being aware of what's going on. It's about being aware, but coming into a higher perspective and understanding of why it's happening. It is an opportunity to dismantle the old ways of being so that we can come forward now as individuals and a global society of heart-based divine beings in that alignment with our heart space, in that alignment with our divinity and living our true power. So I am here to, if anyone has any questions or ever wants any clarification, please, just take a moment, to either drop something in the comments, or you're welcome to send me a private message. But I'm excited for the soul of the Great Awakening. That is the greatest opportunity here. It's not just the awakening and the exposure of all the other untruths that we have lived under for so long now, how oppressed we've been for so long now. But the greatest hidden truth is the separation from our divinity and our the power of our heart-centered nature. So everybody reclaim it. I'm here to support you. And we'll catch up again, soon. Next week, I've got a really dear friend of mine who's going to hop on Facebook Live with me. Her name is Lisa. She lives in Colorado. And we have a great conversation to share with both of you. And I know Rachel, who was here with me last week, she's going to hop on again soon. So lots of great conversations coming up. Thank you for supporting me and for tuning in, not just to me, but tuning in to your heart. See you all soon.